Soren Kierkegaard said, "There are two ways to be fooled. One is to believe what isn't true. The other is to refuse to believe what is true." George Orwell told us that in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act, while Aldous Huxley reminded us that facts do not cease to exist because they are ignored. Lastly, Joe Class said, "The truth will set you free. But first, it will piss you off." This is the news show, Whiskey Hell. Think critically. Act accordingly.
Saturday, April 6th, 7:09 in the evening. This is Whiskey Hell. We're the podcast that looks at the narratives from the last week, gets you ready for the following, and tries to do it in a way that calls out the narratives and all the bullshit. Fitz, how was your week?
How was my week? Yeah, to be honest, McShane, my flabber is gasted. Okay.
Fantastic. All right.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean that in all the best ways. It was a busy damn week. The news started slow, then it came rolling in. That's exactly how my week at work went. Personal life, it was like started slow, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And then it was just like, trying to drink out of a fire hose. You do your best. So anyway, that's how I am. Apparently my flabber is gasted.
I like it.
Yeah.
Well, my week was drinking from a fire hose. It was like a bad bukkake session, if there ever was one.
Oh, I mean, I think all bukkake sessions are bad, aren't they? I mean,
I don't know. I mean, some people
wouldn't want that.
I wouldn't want it either. I wouldn't want a good bukkake session. But that's what it felt like by the time I got to the end of the week. It was like I was stuck in the middle of a gigantic bukkake session, and anything that could happen did happen. Nobody took responsibility for shit. And it was just nonstop. It was just absolutely not. And anything that I needed to get done, no, that all went second. So I'm happy to make it to Saturday night, be here with you, our guests in chat. Right now, we've got Aaron there. We'll see who else is able to make it later. We'll definitely do a check-in.
We're starting a little early tonight, so I think everybody's kind of wrapping up their daily shenanigans and trying to make it in the chat. Even if they don't, Aaron always keeps us straight, so we can always count on him to keep us honest here.
Absolutely. All right. And we do apologize for a little bit early start, but we are going to get 2 sessions of Hefe tonight, and we have we have some stuff that came in hot off the presses tonight that we need to call on Hefe for. One, Hefe has got to ask. We got to talk about Greta's boobs, because we have Greta's boobs report. Yeah,
she got arrested, and I know she came of age a while ago, but I think her breasts are finally like, oh, we should be a woman now. And they just like sprouted. I've never seen her look that good. She's been arrested a few times. This was by far her sexiest arrest.
Well, I think we're going to be seeing something else. I want to pause on that one. I have a theory.
Okay. All right. Great. No, yeah. Let's table it.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and get into our beers because, well, that's where we start things off. So, Fitz, what are you drinking over there?
All right. Mystery beer. All we know going into this is that this is from Threshold Brewing. It poured dark-ish. It smells of mocha, maybe, perhaps even some coconut.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm getting that almost battery smell that you get with some stouts. but it
Okay.
poured so light. I don't know that it's actually a stout. So anyway, Threshold does a lot of really great stuff. So I'm actually pretty excited about this one. So let me give it a taste here. Oh, oh my. Mm. Mm. All right, I'm
Oh.
definitely getting some coffee mocha bitterness in there. Some I'm gonna say that this is a not a stout necessarily, although it could be. I'm not ruling that out. A coffee brown or even a
Hmm.
coconut brown. I don't know, man. There's like that weird fine line where you sometimes get the coffee notes, but then that can blend into some strong coconut. Hmm.
It doesn't sound like the dark lager that
Um,
they have on their site now. They've got their current tap list is a
no.
lot of fifth anniversary stuff. So
Yeah, well, and remember, my wife is getting this stuff out of the didn't sell bin.
right,
So
right, right, right,
this
right.
you're right. This one was like, $1.99. Um, and so it's probably from last season. All right, well, let's do the big reveal here. Let's not stand on ceremony here. God damn, I love Threshold's artwork. All right, this is a shit. You know, I've had this beer before. I should have gotten this one. This is a mocha Baltic porter.
Oh, that's why you've got the battery
Yeah,
taste.
yeah. This is a Baltic porter with coffee.
Neat. So they
And this
didn't
one,
jack it up at all with the mocha.
no, and this one won a looks like it won a silver medal in 2021 and it won a gold medal in 2023. This is a very solid beer.
How does
And I
that
and I
make it to the dollar bin?
I don't know. I'm looking for a price. Yeah, fucking $1.99, dude. I don't know. Because people, you know what? People around here don't know. They know IPAs really well. I cannot. I mean, you could put their IPA knowledge up against anybody, and they would rally. Um, they don't know stouts and porters around here. Stouts, to some degree, they have no idea about porters. So I guess that's how. Um, I can't even find an ABV on this thing. I can't imagine. Oh, here we go. 7.5.
Okay.
So solid showing from a Baltic porter. Super good beer. Wow. I am very, very happy to be starting out the night like this. This isn't quite a sex beer. Like it's not one of those that, you start making out with her and you're like, okay, this is going somewhere.
Right.
But this is definitely a solid second date. You know what I mean? Like you've gotten to know each other on the first date. You want to see each other again, and the second date's going really well. And your foot's tapping on the ground because you're nervous. You don't want to fuck it up.
Okay.
Okay.
I wonder if
So,
that's going to change into a third night, a third date by the time it's warmed up. We get into the second half of the show.
well, that's what we're hoping for here.
All right.
That's what we're hoping.
All
So
right.
yeah, so that's my beer. So what do you got? What are you drinking?
All right. So here's I'm actually on call this week, so full disclosure, and I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to. It's been, like I said, it's been a week, and I am making sure that I represent. Um, but I'm also going to have a hell of a lot of fun. I'm actually starting off with a barley wine.
Hoorah!
And yeah, so this is actually from Pure Project. This is Forgotten Brilliance, batch 3. It's a 12.3%.
Yikes!
Yes.
Man, you are going heavy.
I am rolling heavy. Welcome back to our original barley wine. Forgotten Brilliance is a tribute to the big hoppy American barley wines, as well as a vintage English ales of yore. Our third rendition of this ale features Cascade and Strata hops over a hardy canvas of Maris Otter and English crystal malts. Now, side note for me, Maris hops in a barley wine is absolutely fantastic. So I'm really, really
Yeah,
excited to see how this is going to go.
yeah.
Smells good, smells thick, smells caramely too.
I love down there on the website. It says
Mm.
mouthfeel is sticky, medium body, and approachable bitterness. That's a great description.
And I think that nails it. Wow.
Yeah,
It's a
nice.
mouth-watering beer. It is thick.
That's what she said.
Yeah, it gets you right in the back of the throat too.
That's also what she said.
Mm. Oh, that is trouble. That is a
Okay.
damn good barley one.
Nice. Nice. We are kicking off the show with some solid beers.
Very much so.
My flabber continues to be gasted.
That's going to be the lead for a show title.
I literally, when you're like, how are you doing? I was going to say I was flabbergasted, but then I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? So now we know.
We've got a good example of
right? Yeah, right. We've got a good example. I don't know that we really know what that means. I don't even know the etymology of that fucking word. You know what? I'll effort that while we get to our I don't even know if we want to start a news story because I know Hefe's going to be in here pretty quick. Although we could start something that, that he can jump into the middle of. Because he should be here within the next, I'm going to say 120 seconds.
Well, let's go ahead and we had an interesting little conversation online, and Aaron, you dropped into this too. It was about who we would have in it was 9 individuals, epic individuals, we'll call them, who we could bring back 2 of them.
Oh yeah.
So let me go ahead and bring that up.
Yeah, that one was tricky for me. They were all, I think they were all people that passed away in the 90s. Could be wrong on that. But they were all celebrities that passed away, that were like, I will say this, they were all important people to Generation X, to Gen X. Like these were people who were in movies or music that kind of shaped us as we were becoming, teenagers into young adulthood. Yeah, I guess Kobe was pretty recent. So these were not all people that died in the 90s for sure.
Right.
Okay, so who is number 1? I'm maybe I should be embarrassed to ask, but that's the only one I don't know who that is.
So that's the lead from Linkin Park, and I can't think of his name. I've just gone completely blank.
That's right. He died.
I can't think of his
Chester.
name. Chester Bennington. That's right.
Thank you, Aaron. See, that's why Aaron's here. Thank you, dude. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, the hard thing was, it was like you can only bring back 2. Because honestly, an argument could be made for any one of these people to be back.
Yeah.
But I guess it's kind of like, well, what was most important? Like, who had the biggest impact for you?
Right. Yeah. Which one did you connect with the most to?
Right. Right.
Who is the second one? I don't recognize her.
That's Brittany Murphy.
Oh, okay. She's off my list. She doesn't have to come back. I honestly don't.
Really?
I don't recognize her. Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh God. She was amazing. I really enjoyed her in the few movies she did. I mean, she wasn't prolific or anything, but the movies she was in, she was so cute. That little raspy voice. She just was like a huge personality packed into like this little tiny 5'2".
Oh, Clueless, 8 Mile.
Yeah,
Just
she was
Married.
in 8 Mile.
Okay.
Right.
All right. I know.
Just Married. That one was great with Kutcher.
Yeah.
She was in it with Kutcher. Yeah,
Right.
and she did a really great movie called something Ramen Girl. If you haven't seen Ramen Girl, my wife turned me on to this movie. If you haven't seen Ramen Girl, go watch it. It's very, very endearing. It might be her best role ever. Anyway, so that's who that is.
Cool. Okay. Okay. Now I got her. I still wouldn't bring her back, but
Okay.
I know
All
who
right.
she is though. Then we had Bill Hader.
Yep.
Paul.
No, Mitch
Hader.
Mitch
Hedberg.
Jesus. Hedberg. Yeah, Hedberg.
God damn it.
Mitch
You want to do this? I think you should.
No,
do this.
you got it. Nope. This is our shtick, man. You butcher it, and then I'll butcher it worse, and then someone in chat will correct us.
We'll fix it. That's perfect. Yes.
Yeah.
Mitch.
Okay.
Yeah. Mitch Hedberg.
Mitch Hedberg. Yeah.
Paul. The guy from
not Paul, Fast and Furious. Yeah.
Fast
not Paul
and Furious,
Reiser.
yeah.
I keep wanting to say Paul Reiser. It's
No.
not Paul Reiser. It's Paul. All right, someone's got to help us out. Walker.
Walker. Thank
Oh,
you.
Walker. Yep. Jesus Christ, we suck.
You can
All right.
see where we're going with this, right?
Yeah, I know who this guy is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, Kurt Cobain, Robin Williams,
Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger, and Chris Farley.
Yep.
So those were the 9 names that you could come back with. And Hefe just got here. Congratulations, Hefe. Welcome to the party.
Whoa, what is going on over there, Hefe?
I think that was Grace just popped in and didn't mute himself. Thanks, Mike.
Okay. All right.
Hefe, who do you want to bring back from the dead on this list?
Well, first of all, let me just say, Farley.
Yeah. Okay.
If you get it,
right.
you get it.
Yeah. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yep, absolutely.
Yep. What did I say? 6 and 7, I think I said. Actually, I said 7 and 6. I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
But those are probably my 2.
Okay.
I wouldn't have picked you for a Cobain guy to bring Cobain back.
Well, I was in Nirvana. I mean, it was, revolutionary. I mean, everybody on this list has got something, but like the one I didn't really get, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but Kobe. I mean, he already retired. What are we missing out on?
Well, he was about to sue a pharmaceutical company.
Well, yeah, I thought of
like,
that too.
Was,
I mean,
yeah, that was my argument. And also, I mean, my wife had a great point. She's like, well, I wouldn't necessarily bring back Kobe, but I would bring back his daughter because that wasn't fucking fair.
Right.
Like she was in that chopper too.
Yeah.
I'm out on Kobe because he was a little rapey.
He was a little rapey. Yeah, I agree with that. And like you said, Hefe, he did retire. I will say though, when I was kind of going through the list, looking at this, and thinking about the emotions I had when I found out that they had passed, Kobe was like he was like in the upper 4. Like it kind of hit me hard. I don't know why. Because I fucking hated him. He killed the Suns season after season after season.
But you had to respect it.
Exactly. You had to respect it. The dude could fucking play. I mean, in my opinion, he should be in the conversation about the GOAT way more than LeBron should. I mean, Kobe was tough. He was mentally tough, physically tough. He's a 5-year-old girl. That's not fair to 5-year-old
LeBron's
girls.
a bitch compared to Kobe.
He's a 3-year-old fucking toddler. Yeah. Anyway.
You seen that clip where, I forget who it was, but some guy taking the ball out of bounds and Kobe's guarding him and he like throws like he's going to throw it in his face and Kobe doesn't even blink.
He doesn't even flinch. Yeah, he doesn't even flinch. He just stares him down. Yep. What are you going to do, bitch? Yeah. Well, okay. So, McShane, what about you? Who are your 2?
All right. So I was a lock on Robin Williams. Robin Williams was the one that for sure, that's the one I would bring back. I actually really struggled with this one because Mitch Hedberg was like the master of the awkward silence after he would say something. Because everything he said was so out there, but so smart that you had to you had to process it. He was fantastic. Chris Farley was exceptional. I'm really torn between those 2. I would probably bring back Hedberg, but Farley would be my 3rd, and then Heath Ledger would have been my 4th.
Yeah. Heath Ledger really hurt for me. I just really liked him in all of his movies. Oh God, now I can't remember the name of it, but the one where he was a knight, and they had like modern music in there and stuff.
Knight's Tale.
Yeah, A Knight's Tale. I thought that was such a cleverly done movie, and he was so perfect for that role. And then I'm sorry, I will die on this hill. There will never be a better Joker. There will not. He stole that role. He owned it, and it was his. And then he died, and so no one can ever do it again. At least not better. But that all having been said, my 2 were 3 and 6. So that would be Hedberg, and and Kurt Cobain. And I say that only because of the contributions that they could have made in the future. Like Joe Rogan told this great story about in one of the comedy clubs, I think it was the Cellar, but I don't know which actual comedy club it was, but it was one of the ones that goes back to the 70s, and it just like survived all the way through the 80s and 90s. And someone in the green room, someone had written on the wall, just in like marker, "Stop trying to be Hedberg." Like everybody was trying to do what he was doing to be like smart and clever, and someone wrote up there like, "Stop trying to, don't do your own thing." And so when they tore down that comedy club, Joe Rogan knew the owner, and he had them cut that part of the wall out and save it. And so now that is up in the Mothership, which is Rogan's comedy club in Austin.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
That's framed, yeah, and up on the wall. So I mean, he just was so influential and so bright and just so fucking deadpan about everything and so clever. And then of course Kurt Cobain. I mean, we saw him start as a very raw, just rocker, and he was starting to form into this like seminal lyric writer and music writer, and then he was gone. And then to find out later that it maybe wasn't a suicide is just like, what the fuck. So anyway, those were my two.
And kind of along those same lines, and this, I was not trying to shit on Chester Bennington at all. I honestly could not remember his name. That was one tortured dude.
Yes,
and
true.
Incredibly talented. He was Linkin Park. I don't think Linkin Park's been anything since. But that voice, the lyrics, and then you go on and you find out about some of the shit that that happened to him too. This is a hell of a list. It honestly is. Yeah. You've got phenomenal people who had phenomenal potential that honestly could have changed many of the things that we see today, feel today. They just really they really hit in so many different areas. So
awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, to pick. Oh, go ahead, Hefe.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, to pick two on this is almost a disservice to everyone else, because I mean, would I want Robin Williams back? Of course. Would I want Farley? Yeah. I mean, all of them. Brittany Murphy. I would love all of them to be back.
Right. Even Kobe and his rapey
even
penis.
Kobe. Yes, and his daughter. Like, come on. So yeah, I think this was a really tough one. Usually these come up and I'm like, oh, it's obvious. Obvious one or two. This one was tough. It really was.
And the way they died plays a role sometimes, too. Like,
true.
Like to hear, Robin Williams' suicide, you're like, what? And Cobain and the helicopter crash with Kobe and Paul Walker.
Yeah.
That was
I
used to get a little Paul Walker back in the day.
Yeah, you pulled Paul Walker tail. I don't even know what that means, but you did.
All right, I've got one question.
I was there. Okay.
All right. Now, here's the other interesting thing about this list. All right.
Yeah.
So, how many of those people on there could have potentially been murdered?
Well, 4, 5, 6, 7 for sure. So that would be Walker, Kobe Bryant, Kurt Cobain, and Robin Williams. Because Robin Williams was one of the first. Fuck.
Yep, he was one of the first ones to start coming out about Hollywood.
Yeah. He said that Hollywood was a sick den of pedophiles.
Right.
And then he shortly after wound up dead. Anthony Bourdain, that's who I was thinking of. He was before Anthony Bourdain.
Right.
Anthony Bourdain was stupid enough to tweet out that I have, evidence of the Clintons. So yeah, I think those four for sure. Maybe Heath Ledger. I'm not sure, because he was in Hollywood and he was about to make a big leap. Brittany Murphy, I don't know. I don't know enough about her. Hedberg, I think he was. I mean, just watch his act once and you know how drugged out he was. I mean, I'm not disparaging him, but he definitely was into drugs.
Yeah.
You can't be that smart.
I
and
would say
not be in
1,
drugs.
1, 4,
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, and 8. I would pick those ones.
Yeah. Which is fucking nuts to say, dude. Out of 9
Oh,
of
it's
them.
crazy.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you to Sean Cave. I'm Sean Cave on Twitter, at I'm Sean Cave on Twitter. Aaron chimed in on that one too. So really appreciate everybody who jumped in on that just randomly. Just a neat little, it was totally a meme, but it was a great one to kind of ponder.
Yeah, and it started a nice conversation and it brought me back. Like I said, like those were seminal people in the 90s, you know, who kind of helped raise us because we didn't have parents that gave a shit. So we all had parents that gave a shit, but we also were out of the house 18 hours a day.
Right. Right. No,
So,
they totally gave a shit. They had shit they had to do. They had to make sure that they had a roof over our head. They had, had to make sure that they had a shit ton to do, and they trusted us to not be jackasses or not get in jail.
I was just going to say that is like, I'll never forget when my mom was like, okay, I think I was 13, maybe 12 even, but I remember she like sat me down and she's like, okay, I'm going to teach you how to do your own laundry. I can trust you doing your own laundry. You can do the laundry because I can't keep up with it. So you're going to do your own laundry. I was like, what? Like, I just felt so grown up. I mean, yeah. I mean, that was it. She was too busy running her own business and trying to keep a roof over our heads. Here, dude, learn how to cook, learn how to do your own laundry, and get the fuck out of the house. I don't want to see you for a while.
And if she could have been there all the time, she totally would have. She totally would have been.
Absolutely.
But like you said, I mean, she was, your mom was a baller.
Yeah, she was a baller. She also had a personal life, which I totally respect. That she was like, hey, you're old enough now. I'm going to go out and I'm going to go dancing and you can hang out with Hefe tonight. You guys here's $20, order a pizza. Remember when $20 would order you 2 pizzas and a fucking 2-liter of Coke?
Easily.
And we still had money left over to walk down to the fucking 7-Eleven and get a bunch of nerds. And what else did we get? Big League Chew. I mean, we just bought all the shit. Yeah. Anyway. Those are the good
how's
old
your
days.
night going?
Yeah.
It's not.
It's not going?
Uh-oh.
Nope. We're still at 0.
You have made $0?
Yes.
Oh.
Although I did clock in when I got here today, so I got that going for me. My
Well,
6:20.
I'm thinking you need to move to California and work at McDonald's because those people are making what, 17 an hour? 20
$20 an hour, unless you work for Gavin Newsom. Unless you work for Gavin Newsom, you're making $20 an hour.
Well, that's why I said go to McDonald's. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, so I'm going to call it. We called it last week. He kicked ass after he got off the phone with us. I'm going to call it. This is going to be an over $200 night.
All right, I'm gonna go a little more conservative just because it's almost 8. I'm gonna say you're gonna break 150. I don't know if you'll go over 200
for the night.
Yeah, man. I'm sorry.
I better. The last 2 nights have been shit though. Last 2 nights have combined for less than 250. So I guess you guys. I'll take that. I'll take 150 or 2.
All right.
What do you think? I got blackjack, Spanish 21, and blackjack in the next 3 tables. What do you got?
Ooh. Blackjack, Spanish 21. We're just gonna start looking at it like that. You're gonna walk out of there with 75 after those 3 tables.
Okay.
I'm gonna call.
All right, we'll see.
What
do you got, Fitz?
I'm calling. Thank you, sir. I'm calling. You're gonna get your first 100 from those 3.
I'll take 50. We'll see.
All right. Hefe, Greta Thunberg's tits. That's what we're going to talk about when you come back next.
Fantastic.
Also,
I'll see you in an hour.
If you have a farm report, we need that too.
I got you.
And whether men should wear purses.
Okay.
Bye.
It's going to be a full 20.
Yep. Later.
Later, man.
All right.
I
think we set him up Did we set them up?
Yeah,
okay?
I was gonna say. Yeah, no, I love that we just throw all these curveballs and then we're like, bye. Think about that for the next hour.
Well, that's what he does to us. When he comes in, he's like a fucking wrecking
true.
ball. He comes in and he just blows shit up. So, I think it's completely appropriate to do that.
Well, I do like that. I was like, I'm gonna say this phrase and I want you to hang up. Remember last week? And I said it and he hung up,
Yep.
and then he just said he laughed the whole way back to the table. So, goes both ways. It's a two-way street.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. We do have Jay Stash from Porn Stash in chat, and we have Mike and Tabby from Gray's Tap Room in chat now as well. So,
welcome everyone.
Yeah, looking forward to the shenanigans. They actually had us on last week, and then they've got Beard, who's going to be on there Monday. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah. From what I heard, from what I saw on Twitter, it was almost more random than our conversation we had. Like it bounced all over the place. So I'm looking forward to listening to that.
It was very random, and I've got a surprise. Depending on how Gray's treated this one subject, their subject. I'm just going to preface it for you guys, so because you guys already put this out online, so I'm not like I'm not spoiling anything. It is political fan fiction.
Oh,
legislative fan fiction. Okay, so people have been writing stories.
There is such a thing?
There is. So I have a surprise. This is going to be listener only. I'm going to put this in depending on how you guys treated it. I don't know how you guys handled it. So it's going to be a listener only thing that I think I'm going to go ahead and do from week to week, depending on how you guys like it. So. Oh no, Grace! It is something. This is a road I want to go down because yes, I do.
I'm intrigued, and I'm like, are we talking graphic novels, like political graphic novel?
From
level,
what
or?
from what I read yesterday, it is graphic. Whether it's novel, I don't think so, but it's graphic.
No, I'm in. I mean, I got a full bottle of lube sitting right next to me right now. Let's do this.
All right. Well, you'll be able to check out Gray's Tap Room first, and then our patrons it'll either be flat out abuse or it'll be fantastic. I don't know.
Oh, it'll be abusive. That's all we'll do.
It'll probably be. All right, Fitz. So for everybody who's just tuning in, the way we do our show is that we look at the news from the week and we look at the narratives that are steering you away from what actually matters. So what actually mattered this week?
Let's talk, and I'm going to put this in air quotes, but let's talk natural disasters. Can we start with the earthquakes?
Let's start with the earthquakes, because that was very, very interesting.
Yeah, it was.
So
I mean, let's start with the actual. What are the facts? The actual facts first, and then we'll go to some possible explanations, and then we'll go into the conspiracy theory shit. Because these rabbit holes went deep this week.
So we've got two. Now, keeping in mind that on average there's 55 earthquakes a day. Okay, the Earth is always changing. It's not like,
and that's 55 that are a 3.5 or better.
Yeah,
there are literally thousands that are below 3.5 that we never feel, but 3.5 or better, 55 a day on average on this planet every day.
Yeah, the Earth is getting loose. Mother Nature doesn't give a fuck. She's going to do whatever she wants to do. Right. That's just a fact.
It's disco.
So this week we had a 7.5 magnitude earthquake that happened. I think it was on Monday. Okay.
Yeah.
And the pictures the video coming out of Taiwan is fucking crazy. You've got buildings that are nearly toppling over. I mean, we're talking skyscrapers. You have, I think there was actually ended up being 50 dead, which isn't too bad. But still, I mean, you've got a death toll.
No, I mean,
islands are falling into the ocean.
yeah, that was the craziest part is Turtle Island, which did look like a turtle. Half of its head fell off. That half of the rock that makes up the head of this thing is just gone. It just cracked in half and slid into the ocean.
just done.
Which is wild. Yeah. That's absolutely wild. And I full disclosure, I had two things on my docket that I wanted to talk about last week. One of which was the horrific hurricane season we are about to have, that we are entering into, and I'm going to stick by that for a while. I'm going to keep repeating it because people need to know. If you're in the path, start buying plywood now and bottled water now. It's going to be bad. I mean, they're talking about a possible, first time ever Category 6 hurricane, which would be sustained winds over 350 miles an hour. So just buy your shit now. But anyway, the second thing I meant to say last week was we had a pretty weird coronal hole turning in across the sun. And what I mean by weird is usually the holes are like just what they sound like a hole. This one looked more like a crevasse, like a long from north to south dark spot in the coronal blanket around the sun. And those magnetically tie with our, mantle, with the Earth's mantle and crust. And generally, when you see those vertical coronal holes that way, they bring with them significant earthquakes. That's just kind of the way it goes. Not always, but, most of the time. So I meant to say last week, watch for a 7-pointer or bigger. And I did say it to you and Hefe. I just didn't say it on the show. And I'm definitely not trying to take credit here. I'm just trying to say these things are definitely predictable. We see the signs. We know what's coming. And so none of us should be shocked. There's nowhere to go with this where you can be like, well, this was this was HARP or whatever. I think some earthquakes might be caused by man. This one, I'm putting up to natural causes. That's just me.
Well, it would have been a hell of a shot to call. So
Yeah.
We talked about it. I know you didn't get to it. I will tell you that you get the win in my book because I saw it in our chat. So, it's wild. Some of the like I said, the damage is pretty incredible.
That one apartment building that's like still standing at like a 45-degree angle. That's fucking weird. I don't know how it didn't just crumble.
I don't, it doesn't make any sense that it wouldn't have. They're going to have to knock that shit down, period. But anyway, that's what's been going on in Taiwan. Then fast forward to the end of the week. We have New Jersey, Fitz. New Jersey had an earthquake of 4.8, and oh my gosh, the hell it raised yesterday was just ridiculous.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is imagine if that one had been the 7.5. Mean, you have to understand, for those of you who don't understand the Richter scale, each point is a times 10. So the difference between a 4.8 and a 7.5 is not the same difference between, say, $4.80 and $7.50. It's 1,000 times greater of an earthquake. And so a 7.5 in this area would have leveled New York City and New Jersey and probably Pittsburgh. Philly. It would have been absolutely devastating. But it was only a 4.8. Again, I saw there. So the North Atlantic ridge had about 6 earthquakes this week. And I just chalked it up to, well, things are adjusting from the big Taiwan earthquake. Things are just kind of settling down. I mean, what affects one part of the world is going to affect everything, right? I honestly didn't see the ripple effect that it would actually cause an earthquake on this ridge. But there is a ridge in New Jersey. I mean, just let's not, again, this could have been just completely natural. This is what happens. It is unprecedented. They haven't had a lot of earthquakes this big, but they are on a ridge. So there's that. And I have an interesting side note, but let's go ahead and get to this, what you have pulled up here.
Well, what I was going to say was that it has been quite a while since there was an earthquake that was substantial
For
like
sure.
this, right?
Yeah,
So that was
for
a
sure.
4.8. The last one that would have been of note would have been in 1985, and that would have been a 4.0. And that was
Yeah.
that was around Ardsley, New York. It's interesting because the governor of New York was claiming that it's been since 1884 that they had one that was bigger. So it was a 5.2. So it's not like it's a massive quake, but it was enough to wake you up.
Yeah, and the
The
thing with oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
no, go ahead. I'm gonna go.
Well, I'm
I'm gonna go to the Trump thing with it.
yeah, yeah. No, we'll get to that in a second. The thing with the other thing you have to consider with earthquakes is, the Richter scale measures two things. The amount of movement and how the duration, how long it lasts. That's what increases your Richter scale damage. So you could have kind of low movement, but it lasts for 90 seconds. That's going to move you up on the Richter scale. Or you could have one like the San Francisco one that happened, was a very quick movement. It only lasted 28 seconds, I think, 26. So it was a really quick one, but it was a lot of movement all at once, and so it brought down a lot of stuff. So you have a couple of factors, and on the East Coast, you have some very old, very stable rock, and it's been hardened over millions of years, and so it's pretty stable. So when something moves on that end of the country, it's a big deal. Even if it's just moves a little bit, this 4.8, it's a big deal because that rock is so solid, it's so thick that you get a lot of it translates all the way to the buildings. Whereas if it happens on soft soil, you might not even know it's happening at all. So that was part of the factor as to why people freaked out so much is, even if it didn't shake your house, you felt it, which would be disconcerting. I've been through several earthquakes myself, and it's never a thing where you're like, it's no big deal. Every time you go, oh shit, here we go. This is weird. So
Well,
I get it. I get why people freaked out.
and it makes you realize that, wow, I really don't have the control I thought I did. There's
Yeah,
nothing you can do. I'm going to go
right. I'm
stand in
an
a
ant.
doorway and hope I don't die. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so there was speculation that the epicenter of this quake was it? I think
Yes,
it was
this is the
Trump's
punchline.
one of Trump's. Oh, it was Bedminster Golf Course.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
his golf course. Yep.
And they made a big deal out of the 2.0 magnitude or aftershock because that did happen there.
Yeah.
But it had nothing
correct.
to do with Trump. It was not, no one was using HARP on Trump. Okay. Nobody was trying to take out Trump Tower or the Bedminster Golf Course. It wasn't, but that was the first thing that popped up on our radar. So that was kind of amazing. Then the second one was this knob. Linda Godino. The quake in New Jersey was a magnitude 4.8. So far, there have only been 13 quakes in that area that were deemed damaging by the National Earthquake Information Center. You know what? Hold on. I didn't pull the... Damn it. Well, there. I just totally fucked up. Hold my beer.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They're trying to blame this on climate change, which is hilarious. It's hilarious. And I called out a few people on Twitter this week on that. Because somebody was like, when are the conservatives going to blame this on Biden? And I'm like, we'll blame it on Biden as soon as you idiots blame it on climate change. Oh, wait, you already did that. I mean,
Yeah.
literally, there was a whole fleet of people out there trying to blame this on climate change. You have no idea what you're talking about. And you know what's sad? One of my first thoughts was as to why this wasn't caused by HARP, this one or the one in Taiwan, is because if they had been caused by HARP, there would have been a lot more damage and a lot more people would have died. Plain and simple. It was a natural disaster because, it wasn't completely devastating. It didn't completely level Taiwan. It didn't take out New Jersey and New York, or it didn't completely destroy Trump's golf course. So to me, I was like, oh, okay, it's definitely just natural causes. And again, we had that coronal hole turn in, and that is, if you're talking about the the tie to the sun and the Earth's magnetic fields, there is no bigger one than the coronal holes. Sunspots create, CMEs, coronal mass ejections, but coronal holes create a gap, a magnetic shift in our crust, and every single time earthquakes come with it. Sometimes they're small, sometimes they're big, but they come with it every time.
New Jersey Senate candidate blamed yesterday's earthquake on climate change. Her name was Christina Amir Khalil. I experienced my first earthquake in New Jersey. We never get earthquakes. The climate crisis is real. The weirdest experience ever. How the fuck are you going to blame this on climate change?
That would be an interesting. I would like to hear her answer to that. Like, are you saying that there's, the polar ice caps are melting, and so there's more water, so that changes the pressure on the land? I mean, what are you like? How do you draw that line from, statement A, climate change is a thing, to statement B, we had an earthquake today? How do you draw that line to make those connect? I'd really be curious.
I can't even fathom why she would even go there. Who's going to pay? Is somebody paying you to say it? Do you have some kind of constituency that wants to make sure that you're nailing down the climate change aspect of things? I mean, who's financing that ridiculous comment? And she even got community noted, because New Jersey does, like you already said, it sits on a fault.
Right. Moron.
It's just fucking. Oh, and I forgot. Yes, she's part of the Green Party. You're welcome.
Well, hey, last note on the earthquake front. We do have the end of the world. I mean, the solar eclipse coming up on Monday. And one of the things that the moon does have quite a bit of sway on,
yep,
is our tidal forces, and it also has a magnetic connection to us.
Yep. And
when you line up the moon and the sun together, you're gonna have some shifts. You're gonna have some pretty big push and pull actions going on to our crust. So I'm calling my shot now. There will be some earthquakes after the eclipse. Usually when an eclipse happens, they don't happen for anywhere from 2 to 6 days afterwards. So we might be talking about this literally as the show's going on. There might be earthquakes next week. So it won't happen right as the eclipse is happening, but usually after an eclipse. And by the way, this is one thing we didn't mention about the Taiwan earthquake. There was a solar eclipse over the Pacific about 2 days before the Taiwan earthquake. So, eclipses happen all the time. It's not a big deal, but they do bring with them some tidal fluctuations and some crust movement. So there are earthquakes associated with the moon. So you add in the moon eclipse, the solar eclipse, along with that, that coronal hole. Yeah, of course we were going to have an earthquake. And we may have another one this week. So, or 2 or 5. So just be ready for that.
Does everybody take the sun for granted, and that's why nobody can blame it for anything? Like, it's just up there. We know it's going to be there.
Yeah.
There's nothing sexy about it. Let's just ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, I think even to the point where you're like, well, it's just going to always come up tomorrow. Like, well, what if it didn't? Like, no, I mean, it's, and what's funny is if you say the sun, like, the preschoolers I work with, they all know what the sun is. But if you really get down to what is the sun, like scientifically, what is it and what effects does it have on us living creatures and the planet we live on? People don't know. They have no idea. They don't know the science of the sun. They just know it's a thing. And that's it is literally the most important thing in our lives. I mean, without it, we would have nothing. And yet people
absolutely.
don't know, they don't know shit about it. And that's why I was like, I'd like to know more about it. That's why I got into this. I hope that I know our audience has definitely gotten more educated just because I got more educated, but there's so much more to know out there. I mean, I know the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to find out. So I don't know. Yeah, but yes, to answer your question, we definitely take it for granted. Definitely.
All right. So that was a big one for the week. The second one that dropped. Now, I'm a little bit torn on this because I feel like the second half of the show should probably be narrative and more narrative.
Uh-huh.
But one thing that we're not talking about is the Israel bombing that took place on Sunday.
Yeah.
And a lot of, well, you're not getting just how horrendous that attack was.
Yeah. It was terrible.
I mean, and let's be realistic here. It's war. We get it, right? Yeah. We get it. This is what happens in war. Nobody wants to put up with that. Nobody wants to understand that. Nobody wants to realize that. But it was a pretty big attack, and it's one of those attacks that had nothing to do with Gaza. It had nothing to do with anything happening with Palestine. This was all about taking out high-level Iranian operatives, and it did a number on them.
Oh yeah,
it was an Iranian consulate in Damascus.
It was a consulate. That's yes. I'm glad you said that. That was the big deal. Is that it was a consulate, which, by the way, literally goes against and violates every single line of the Geneva Accords.
Yeah,
every
you're attacking. If you do anything to a consulate, that's basically war on another nation. That's their ground in somebody else's country.
I mean, the way I understand it, if you even murder a person, like you come onto consulate grounds and you shoot somebody, whatever country you're from, your country just declared war on the country of the person you just killed. I mean, even if it's not the member of that consulate. Like if I'm an American and I go to the Mexican consulate and I kill a Cuban, I just declared war on Cuba. Like that's how it's written in the language. And they were just like, yeah, we know all that, but we're just going to bomb the whole fucking thing. So that's cool, right? Is that cool?
Well, they took out the airstrike took out the sleeping quarters, and they actually ended up taking out 7 high-level operatives for the Iranian National Guard. And I get it. You want to stop Iran, take out their high-level people. Yeah. But you notice how that's been buried this week? Yeah, you can kind of see it in the government's, the U.S. is like, no, we don't condone, anything that Israel's done. Israel's not copped to it. But it was a massive, it was a pretty big airstrike. It wasn't like it wasn't a little drone thing. It wasn't like it was a big deal, I guess.
No, it was legit. Yeah, it was legit airstrike. Yeah.
So what's been downplayed a great deal, and the interesting thing for me is that while yes, everybody is saying that we've got an Iranian threat, we're looking at I think it was on Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, there was a 48-hour window that was said that we're expecting an Iran attack somewhere on U.S. interests within the next 48 hours.
Yep.
And then there was a release, which I don't know that it was, I don't think it was accurate. I really don't. Where Iran and the U.S. came to an understanding that the U.S. would not intervene if they went after Israel. That seems like it kind of went under the radar, or it was never substantiated, but that came out in a couple of places.
Yeah, it did.
And now tonight,
that's a big deal. Yes. And then tonight, what's happening in Tel Aviv?
Yeah, you have Tel Aviv has massive hundreds of thousands of people protesting Netanyahu, wanting him out, and that dude's got to go. I mean,
I think they they got that to millions. I mean, there's over 1 million people out there.
So all of these things, and you can't see. I mean, if it wasn't for X, you wouldn't see this stuff anywhere. It's
Right.
not playing anywhere. So I find it very, very interesting that this is being buried as much as it is. I think the Israel conflict's gotten out of hand. The U.S. is backing off. It's going to end soon. You also had, very early in the week, Netanyahu suddenly has this hernia that he has to be operated on. Very, very strange set of events that's come from this, and I think it's going sideways.
I think it's going sideways too, and I think it's they're trying to do damage control. I mean, I just picture like somebody on a sinking boat, like, you know, shoving a finger in a hole, and then another hole pops open, and they shove a finger in that hole. Like, that's how I picture. And I, for sure, Israeli top officials, but, you know, all of their cabinet, Netanyahu's whole cabinet, the top politicians there. But I also feel like our own U.S. officials are losing control of the narrative, because on the one breath, it's, you know, support Ukraine, support Israel. Under no circumstances do we deviate from that.
Right.
But at the same time, we're gonna say that we don't support Taiwan being its own independent thing, which I know we'll get to that story later. And so we have a lot of double talk going on, a lot of double speak. And I think if you're not watching carefully, you won't catch that, and you'll just think, well, we have a policy that it's a blanket policy for the whole world. We don't. We are, if you pay us enough, we're on your team. If you don't, or if you're somebody who could legitimately threaten us, like China, then we're going to bow down to you. And I think China pays us enough money. And so you have all these very disparate, you know, narratives going on. And even the Iran attack, I think the officials had to come out and say, hey, we don't condone this. But at no point were they like, hey, we're going to cut off aid to Israel. Nobody said that. No. And so, I mean, we're in a very interesting time, just in the sense that if you're watching all the narratives that are crumbling, they're getting desperate in, like, you know, it's like you catch that kid in a lie, and he's like, no, I didn't take the cookie. And you're like, well, but there's a cookie in your hand. And then, like, the lies just have to get bigger and more ridiculous well, the cookie just, you know, the cat grabbed the cookie and gave it to me. All these things just start getting so absurd. That's where we're at. We're literally at where they're just going to have to make up some magical fucking thing. You know, Project Bluebeam comes to mind. It's like they're going to have aliens come down from space, in order to distract us from the dumb shit that's going on here. And I that was not a setup, but yes.
It was a setup for the second half of the show, Fitz. That was a perfect setup.
You don't know me.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what that was. Yeah. And I honestly, how's that beer coming?
Oh, dude, I fucking killed it. It was so good. In fact, when Hefe was on, I caught myself just like taking giant gulps of it, because it was almost like a thirst buster. Like,
oh wow,
whoa, well, that just took me back. Thirst busters aren't even a thing anymore.
I don't know. I think Circle K actually does like a trough of sugar at this point. Something like that.
Just an IV.
One of those ones.
Well,
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I treated this thing like a fucking Gatorade bottle. It was like the manna of life. I killed it. It was delicious. Great beer. It did warm up nicely, but I wouldn't say it got better. It just maintained its awesomeness. It was a really good beer.
I think, you know what? Hold on. I think, was Circle K the big gulp, or was 7-Eleven?
No, I thought 7-Eleven was the thirst buster. Circle K was the big gulp.
Okay.
7-Eleven's a big gulp.
We have a debate.
All right, then.
We have a debate in chat.
I'm
going with Aaron's name, diabetes in a bucket.
They should have just put that on the side of the cup.
They should have. They really should have.
Oh shit. Well, so wait. So how was your beer? How'd that end up?
It's actually gotten tough to drink.
Yeah,
it's
barley
gotten
wines
tough.
are tough when they warm up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really glad it's not a huge bomber, because that would be really painful. And also, the other nice thing about this one was it was actually bottled in 2021.
Oh,
So
nice. So it's
so
been
for
aging.
3 years, yeah. So for an aged beer, 3 years almost, yeah. I think I like it. I really really do. I would have preferred to split this with somebody. Like the first stab it
Okay.
was fine. The end, yikes.
Quickly before we go to break,
Yep.
because the break is warranted. Um, again, this is I'm not trying to like twist anyone's arm or force you into anything you don't want to do. But for those of you who are not in the Patreon, you're missing my profile picture tonight. That profile picture that is of my one of my tools for my martial arts class. That's a bob, and we actually drank enough one night that we did a complete photo shoot. And so that was Bob. His name, I've changed his name. His name is Ashton, because you need a punchable name. Bob isn't someone you want to hit, but Ashton, you want to fuck that guy up. So his name's Ashton. And that picture was taken from our photo shoot night. I have several more coming up over the next few weeks of that photo shoot night and the different outfits that we put Ashton in. So I'm just saying, if you're on the fence, you're not sure if you want to join or not, now's the time, because the only place you're going to see pictures of Ashton will be here live as we do the show. So anyway, that's Ashton. Welcome to the show, Ashton.
I think you should send me those so I can go ahead and post the photo op into the Patreon.
Okay. I have honestly, I have more photos than I care to admit of Ashton. That was it was a long night. We had a lot of people over. They all brought different outfits. It was a thing. So yeah, we'll get those up for you guys. And yeah, so you're welcome.
All right, let's get to beer two.
Let's do it.
All right, beer two. Fitz, I have Dark Canyon by Wanderlust.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to read this to you. Actually, let me pour it out. Just listen to it cascade into my glass. All right. So this is a barrel-aged imperial stout, first off. Now, Wanderlust does some really good high-end stuff. They're very subtle. You wouldn't know it, especially when you go to walk into Wanderlust Brewing, and you've been there with me. This is the one in Flagstaff. It's actually an industrial area.
Yeah, it's such a cool spot for a brewery, and a really cool brewery in that spot. It's a nice setup.
Yeah. This is Dark Canyon. The Dark Canyon Wilderness in Utah has canyons so narrow that they're impenetrable to sunlight for most of the day. Much like those canyons, the inky blackness of our Imperial Stout is complex and rich experience. Flavors of roasted coffee, chocolate, and molasses settle onto the tongue, which are followed by a subtle whiskey and wood aftertaste from the months spent in barrels, bottle conditioned, mind the yeast. So I'm looking forward to this one. They've got a strawberry on the side of it, and I don't know why that strawberry is in there. There's nothing about the strawberry as far as the beer goes. I will take a picture of it before I dive in, and I'll throw it up in the Patreon chat. But here we go.
Okay.
No smell. Oh, that's wild. We got smoke. Thick. A little bit of barrel at the end, not overdone.
Dude,
The molasses is
Totally describing how I make love.
really.
Oh yeah.
Did we just like?
There's smoke. There, a little bit of barrel at the end. All of it. I mean, that's my formula. These guys stole my shit.
Well, I'm gonna fucking call it. Here it comes. This is oh, this is the girl you don't talk about. And
Oh yeah.
you want to? Oh yeah. This is yeah, this is the one you don't talk about. It happened, you remember it, and you're just like it can never happen again. And you always will want it to happen again. It is beautiful and filthy and goddamn perfect. Oh, that's a good beer. Oh, what are you drinking?
Love it. Okay. New to me brewery. I'm not familiar with this brewery at all. This is the whole experience. And okay, full disclosure, I've not yet tasted the beer, but I am going through a weird sort of roller coaster of emotions, a weird dichotomy of things are happening with this beer already, and I haven't even tasted it. So first of all, the brewery is Via, V-I-A, and they kind of have a cool shtick going on with their V and their A with like upside down triangles and right side up triangles and whatever. But Via Brewing. The name of this beer is Temple Wolf. It's a hazy IPA. It's a 6.5. No, yeah, 6.5. I've been getting into hazies lately just because it's that time of year, and hazies. If I'm going to do an IPA, hazies are my go-to. But the reason I chose this beer, and I judge me, talk shit about me, whatever. But the reason I chose this beer is because of the can art. On the cover of this beer. So the beer is called Temple Wolf. Okay, so here's where the dichotomy comes in. The beer is called Temple Wolf, but the artwork is of a Chinese pagoda, which is like a Buddhist temple, Chinese pagoda in the background, and in the forefront are two Chinese. We call them in the Western Hemisphere here. We call them foo dogs. But they're not dogs; they're lions. They're guardians of the temple. And I'm not sure where that whole translation came from. They were lions to they're going to become dogs, but we call them colloquially as foo dogs. But really, they are considered shishi in Mandarin, which is
okay. I got you.
The lion.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's just beautiful can art. So I chose this can because I was like, holy shit, these foo dogs are just beautiful. And I need to know who this artist was or is. Because you got the male and the female. They both represent, different things, the yin and the yang and all of that. Anyway, so beautiful can, very well done. But then they called the beer Temple Wolf, which these are lions that we call dogs, but now they're saying wolf. So I don't know. I'm all over the fucking place with this. I hope it's a good beer just because I'd like a good experience to tie all this together with, because right now I'm very confused. So let's see what we got.
So that's Via Brewing or Via Beer, excuse me. And I think it's viabeer.com.
Ooh.
I don't even, where are they out of? Their website is not telling me anything.
I have no idea. Hold on. What's cool is, one thing that is cool is they have Brittany, Connecticut, and Clackamas, Oregon. So that's why I have it here, because it's out of Clackamas.
Okay.
But Brittany, Connecticut is their corporate headquarters. I don't know how that happens. But
well,
they
the
do
worst
have
website ever. So
oh yeah,
I'm
it's
not
a terrible website. And they're like an enigma to me. Like, where do you come up with this can art? But then on the can on the side is written, "Man is to man either a god or a wolf." So I guess that's how they came up with the name of Temple Wolf. But I don't know how that ties into the beer, and I don't know why there's
shit
Foo Dogs on the front. I'm very confused. Once again, my flabber is gasted, and I don't know what to do with this beer. It's a decent hazy. It's not my favorite style of hazy. They went really hoppy on this. Instead of kind of more the fruity, mellow side of the hazies that you can get into. So not my favorite beers so far. And I mean, as far I like really the only redeeming quality of this beer right now is the phenomenal can art. And honestly, I mean, it's so beautiful. If I could get this as like a painting or like a, some kind of mural in my house, I would. It's just, I have a fascination with Foo Dogs anyway. I have 2 pair of them. One of them came all the way from China, and they're fucking badass. And so I love Foo Dogs. I don't know where this brewery's coming from. So that's what I got.
Little known fact. Okay, so you have a thing for Foo Dogs. I have a thing for Spanish bulls.
Oh, really?
Yep. Breaking news for anybody who's interested. Yep. Always have. I have.
Yeah.
I ended up having to get rid of one statue that I had. Not statue. It's like a little porcelain thing. It broke. I had to get rid of it. But I have another. I had a red one, which was cool, and then I have a black one that I actually have at home. And I've always had a thing for him. Yeah. So there you go.
Well,
Foo Dogs and bulls.
My Sifu has a pair of stone Foo Dogs out in front of the garage where he teaches at his house, and I have laid claim to them. I've told all my Kung Fu brothers under no circumstances. I mean, I will fight all of them, or any one of them. Yeah, but those are mine. When Sifu passes, I want those Foo Dogs. They have deeper meaning for me. Because Sifu and I had a conversation one night, one cold San Francisco night. It was June, and it was fucking like 40 degrees outside, and we had a deep conversation, and we were right next to those Foo Dogs, and so yeah, I'll fight for those. So we'll see. All right. My Sifu's never gonna die though, so it's a moot point.
He is immortal.
Yeah, immortal, totally.
We have Ashley. I'm sorry, Buttercup. Pardon me.
Welcome, Buttercup.
And Elle are in chat. They are together. They've had a girls' night out at the Big Orange.
Yeah.
Here in Phoenix. Sorry, it's Lagrange Orange. So
yeah, Lagrange Orange.
Lagrange Orange.
It's harder to say when you're drunk.
I think. Well, on top of that, I think the French base their whole language around giving blowjobs, because when you try to actually formulate a word, it's all based. It's all mouth. I mean, you have to manipulate your mouth in order to say a lot of that.
I will say it's all based on fellatio. So like, giving some form of fellatio either to a man or to a woman, but it's all about the tongue. Like there's a lot of tongue in French,
and you have
which is why it's called a French kiss.
Yep, there you go. And you have to have a lot of room in your mouth. You have to make a lot of room in your mouth in order to be able to say it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be phlegmy when you're speaking French.
No.
Because then it's just unintelligible. You have to have you got to clear the space, and then start talking.
Yeah, you have to. Voulez-vous accoucher avec moi? I mean, you have to really, really put effort into it.
Italians speak with their hands. The French speak with their tongues. Mexicans speak with their penises, basically. I mean, give or take. And I think Americans, we speak with our stupidity. I mean, that's basically how we talk.
All right. Well, let's get down to the news. That is the narratives for this week. So while we talked about the most important things at the very beginning, here's the stuff that you're supposed to be paying attention to. according to mainstream media. April 8th, if you haven't heard it yet, the gigantic eclipse is coming. And now we have prisons who are going to be shut down during it. We have a claim that there's going to be a eclipse that causes an earthquake during it. It's gotten fucking ridiculous, and it is still going, Fitz.
Yeah, it's the end of the world. If you haven't heard, everything ends April 8th, 2024. Which there's a nice symmetry there to those numbers. I know Hefe will appreciate that. He'll be listening to this right as the world is ending. But you know, it's going to be 4, 8, 24. You know, a bunch of even numbers, which you know, in various cultures around the world, even numbers are good, and then there's other cultures where even numbers are bad. So anyway, yeah, world's supposed to be ending. Prisons are shutting down. They're telling people to stock up on, you know, water, food. We talked about all this last week. Here's the thing. Am I going to go to work on Monday and just, you know, business as usual? Yes, I am. I'm going to show up. Am I going to have my head on a swivel that day? Probably. I'm not concerned for the natural calamities. I'm concerned with stupid people doing stupid shit that day. You know, I mean, I'm concerned with people being like, well, the news told me it's the end of the world, so I might as well shoot up, you know, a drugstore or a fucking public gathering. That's what I'm concerned about is people doing dumb shit. So I'm going to be aware that day, but do I think anything's going to happen? Anything more than an actual eclipse? I do not. And if something happens, it won't be natural. It'll be man-made. That's where I'm coming from.
Nothing's going to happen. And I'm willing to
Right.
go out and say that nothing man-made is going to happen either. I don't think there's going to be any kind of outages. I don't think there's going to be any kind of issues.
No,
I don't think
I'm with you. Yeah.
all of this other bullshit. It's just absolute bullshit. And I know. We've been talking about this for the last 3 weeks. But again, it goes back to what the narrative is, right? Why are we pushing it? Why is this being pushed? Why do we not want you talking about all the important stuff? You don't talk about how Biden's getting his ass kicked. Talk about the eclipse.
Yeah, right.
You know, don't talk about how, you know, legally Trump is not having any issues really.
No,
Don't talk about
Yeah.
what's happening in California. Don't talk about how, you know, drug use. You notice how the border is no longer a thing, right?
Oh yeah, that hasn't been in the news at all. And also on top of it, let's not talk about how Israel is committing genocide. Let's not talk about how Iran is literally mobilizing their entire military. Let's not talk about Russia and how they still have yet to respond to Ukraine's attack. I mean, right. Let's have all of that go into the to the back burner, and let's talk about this natural phenomenon that happens literally, 4 to 8 times a year, every year, somewhere on the planet. And it's not a big deal. I mean, this shit hasn't been a big deal. I kind of joked about it last week. I was like, hey, I feel like we need to find some virgins to sacrifice or something.
Right.
Because that's
And
what
red
the Mayans
heifers.
used
And
to
red
do.
heifers.
Right.
Yeah.
And red heifers, yeah. But now it's turning into like, now I have to watch my own back. And I know a lot of our friends in chat feel the same way. Like, I have to keep my head on a swivel, not because of some natural occurrence, but because people are dumb. And they're going to do dumb shit that day. And I'm with you. I think the chances of that are low. I don't think they're zero. I mean, the chances of anything happening are never zero.
No.
I think they're low, but I think if anything does happen, I'm just want to go on record. If anything happens on Monday, it's not going to be because the moon crossed. It's because people want you looking at the moon while they,
are extorting something else.
Yeah, cause some other chaos, some other mayhem.
So the number 2 meat producer is Brazil, and nobody's talking about how Brazil and their forests are on fire, right?
No one's talking about that.
No. But you know what we did have this week? Bird flu.
Yeah.
So would it be absurd to have bird flu come in and totally take out the egg market, completely take out the cattle, because we're that's a thing now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it jumped from birds to cows.
Yep, from birds to cows to man. I don't know who was banging a
people.
cow or if they were making out. I have no idea how it got there, but it did. But if you look at Brazil, Brazil's on fire. Brazil's already the number 2 meat producer in the world. Wouldn't it be strange if this is something that wipes out our food supply, and then Brazil can go, and Brazil has more grazing land?
Wouldn't it? I mean,
that's a conspiracy theory, but you gotta wonder, because all of this points to attacks on our infrastructure, on our food supply. Yeah. We've talked about this for weeks now. It is suspect.
Well, and this isn't part of this story, but it's kind of part of what you just said. We also have like major attacks going on our oil imports, our strategic petroleum reserve, all of that. Just right before we came on the show, there was a story about a major oil platform that Mexico controls, Pemex. It just blew up completely. It's gone. It's just gone. So you take, all right, we're gonna weaken their food supply, their ability to create energy, which is, for the most part, oil and oil products. Next will be water, which they kind of already have started with taking out, waterways and bridges and train derailments with toxic chemicals that get into the water supply. I mean, it's hard. Listen, if it happens once, you can pass it off as like, oops, sorry. When it happens twice, 3, 6, 12 times, you can't. It has to be something that you pay attention to and you go, is this deliberate? And speaking of deliberate, we do have a Hefe sighting.
Given my history.
We do have a Hefe sighting. And I want to come back to this because we need to touch on the SPR. We need to touch on how it's an election year and we've got bird flu. And we just need to do a little bit more on that. But right now, we have to talk about the most important thing that we have all night: Greta Thunberg's boobs. Fitz, Hefe, what size are they?
32A.
Look at her being arrested right now. Now she is in Holland being arrested by somebody, bunch of fake police.
Yeah,
I think they're bigger than that, Fitz. I think
I'm going B's. I don't think they quite. Yeah, I don't think they are quite a handful. And again, I have, exceptionally large hands for, the size man I am. So, take that into account. But no, I don't think they're quite C's, but I'm going solid B. They used to be, Hefe, I'm with you. They used to be like an A, like a small A.
Yeah.
Nice pause, McShane. That's perfect. Now they're a solid B. That's a good showing.
I'm gonna give her a 36C solid. That's gonna be my call.
We call her, or how do we?
I'll reach out to her later on
34
on Twitter.
Maybe. I'm saying 34B.
Okay. And what was your pick, Hefe?
Well, I hadn't seen them recently, but I'm changing my
See?
answer.
See? She
yes,
grew up.
C, exactly.
Yeah.
C? Yeah, 34C.
C.
And to answer Chat's question, I believe she's 21 now. So she's just she's a delinquent, obviously, because she constantly gets arrested. Trust fund baby. Who has a nice rack. She actually went up in my book because of that. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but that's where I'm at.
Yeah. I'm there with you. And I mean, this is the kind of hard hitting news that Whiskey Hell brings you. Because I know we have many female fans out there. And one of the burning questions on their minds was, what do McShane, Fitz, and Hefe think about Greta Thunberg's breasts these days? Like, really, they had to have been asking themselves that. And so now we've answered that question. I feel good about it. I feel this is a great show.
I think what we've got now, this is a shift in the narrative that is Greta. She is going to be a sexual, what is the word for it? The word's escaping me. It is going to be she's going to be a climate change sexual, pariah thought, maybe THOT. I think they're going to play up her sexuality. I think they're going to get her into a lot more stuff, and they're going to show she's going to be in some more revealing stuff. Maybe there's a Greta Thunberg, swimsuit issue. I don't know.
Right. When does she?
I think this was going to happen. Though.
When does she shoot her first porn?
Not soon enough. We'll leave that out there for Jay. Jay, if you want to go and chime in on that.
Yeah, please let us know. If that's in the works, I need to know.
I wish she would stop wearing her hair back. I really, really do. That's really annoying that she has to do. She might actually be pretty if she wore her hair out, but it's always pulled back. I just don't know.
It's so natural, though. It's so natural. She does have like a 5 or 6 head.
She really does.
That forehead continues way past a 4.
So what's with the bus that they threw her into? Is that like a Holland thing? Hey, we're gonna go ahead and
I don't know.
Get a whole bunch of prisoners and like throw them in a nice bus.
That's what I thought too. Like because
how
they just threw her on like
this
passenger bus. They didn't handcuff her or anything. Like if she wanted out of that bus, like it'd be so easy to just kick a window out and you're gone.
Yeah, and let's not forget how close the camera person is.
Yeah, right.
It's so fucking staged.
How dangerous? Yeah, it's so staged. Get 2 big guys to make sure she doesn't get hurt. Just throw her in a bus. Make it look real. Yeah.
Every one of these cops. Okay, look at the police specifically. Ripped.
Oh yeah.
Strapping young actors playing the part.
No,
that's what it looks
remind
like.
me of both of them. Remind me of Hefe.
They do. It's like she was being arrested by a team of Hefes.
That's what I'm saying. When does this porn come out? Because those guys are gonna rail her later.
Right. Exactly. How racist is this? There's not anybody of any ethnic persuasion at all in there. Nobody. Dude, this is so racist.
This is the most unwoke video I've ever seen.
God damn it! I swear to God, what is going on? Hefe,
I would have been like, she's trying to get away, and then you got to cup the breast to try to restrain her.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Hey, can we talk about guys who are like wearing purses? What the fuck is going on?
Hold on. Before
Did I pivot too fast?
Do we have a farm report? That's what I need to know.
Sorry.
First.
Do we have a farm report, Hefe?
Step officer. Yes, Aaron. Those were step officers. And she got stuck in the bus. She needs help out.
Oh no. Step brother.
I just glanced over at the chat.
Damn it.
You can't help it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they finally got us. They finally got us. That's what got us. That's great.
Do we have a farm report?
Yeah.
Yes.
Step officer. Fuck. Go ahead.
So you guys are familiar with the phrase "fetch the farm"?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wasn't, but apparently, it's from prison slang from the late 1800s, and it means to get sent to the infirmary, where there's much better diet and not as much hard labor. Also, yeah. Also, I can't believe I've never heard that term before, and you guys have. But this one's going to save it because Robert Newman was banned from all farms in the United Kingdom in August of 2013 for having sex with a goat. That's your farm report. So his picture is up on farms everywhere because he banged a goat.
I mean, can you blame him?
Who hasn't thought about it, right?
I mean, so here's the thing.
Hold it. You got to say it one more time for Tabby and Chad. Say it one more time.
Say what?
The whole farm report. Just say it for effect. Fire that away one more time.
What? This is unprecedented.
Yes.
The whole thing.
Yep.
Well, I need my music.
Okay. Hold on.
So, are you guys familiar with the phrase "fetch the farm"?
Yes.
I've heard it before, but apparently it's from the late 1800s, and it means to get sent to the infirmary where there's a better diet and not as much hard labor. Also, in that same vein, Robert Newman was banned from all farms in the United Kingdom in August 2013 for having sex with a goat. That's your farm report. Part B.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. I met a goat today. Not in person, but I met her pictures. I purchased a firearm today. And so, you never know what you're going to get when you go into like a local, because I always go local, like, small, gun shop. Went into a gun shop, purchased a firearm. The gentleman that was helping my wife and I, he has a small female goat, and her name is Lady Detective, and she's a small little white goat. And Hefe, when you said that, I shudder to think because he looked shady. Okay, he looked like he might be the type of individual that maybe might, on occasion, have sex with Lady Detective.
Was she looking at you like, help me?
Kind of.
Was she giving you the
Yes.
signal that she needed to go?
Yes. Yeah. She gave the 2 taps with the hoof. That's universal signal, right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
it is now.
He's violating me.
Oh, God.
I don't.
Adopt
Damn.
me.
Now that you say that, like, now I feel like I need to go back and talk to that gentleman.
You probably should.
You really should. You
Just
need
ask
to
him a
go
few
back
questions.
there.
Anyway, that was her name, Lady Detective, and I've never met a goat with a name like that. And she is beautiful. I will say that she's beautiful.
That's what his excuse is going to be.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm afraid of. Sick bastard.
Well, I
Anyway,
made 40.
so what's that?
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say man purses. Is this what we're doing now?
I don't are we? I don't know. I mean, Hefe just wrecked so much shop that going to man purses just kind of I don't. Yeah, let's go for it. Do you guys see? I don't know what if it's do something terrible.
Well, I mean, I will say, I have always been partial to the use case. Like a. I mean, I always called it my saddlebag, but it was like an actual legit, like, big case, like a lawyer would use. These things that these and I hesitate to use the term men, but the things that these people are carrying, those are merces, right? Those are men purses.
Why
It's
do
not
we
a
have to
duffel
do
bag.
this?
I don't know.
When these guys are matching their fucking bags to their outfits. Here's Travis Kelce with this shiny, I don't know what kind of outfit this is, and his toes, his shoes are fucking pointed.
Oh, they're terrible. They're terrible.
And it's a Gucci bag. Then you've got LeBron James here in this Louis Vuitton duffel that matches his super short jean jacket and black pants. And then David Beckham and he's trying to rock whatever. It's this awful suitcase that's.
Yeah, but
oh,
it looks like like a little lunchbox around his shoulder.
Yes.
Have we not been emasculated enough? Have we not? I mean, the next step is, women are just going to have to come around with a pair of shears and cut off our penises. I mean, that's the only way we could get more feminine. And listen, I'm all about being in touch with your emotions. I work with kids. I fucking get it. But there also has to be a balance. There has to be a yin and a yang. And you can't emasculate us any further without actually removing our penises, our sexual organs, and now we're just all going to just be fucking tribbing together. We're just all going to trib. That's the only sex that'll ever be happening is clit on clit, man on woman. Go for it. It's bullshit.
I gotta go.
Thanks, Heavy.
On that note.
I made 40 on that 3-ball, by the way.
Oh, 40. All right.
All right.
We're close.
You're rolling.
All right.
You're rolling.
On board.
It's gonna happen. All right.
All right, guys. See ya.
All right, brother.
All right. Later.
Sorry. I know I got a little emotional there, but
I just don't.
Yeah, and see,
I don't get it.
And you can't see they show this is what they want to do. They show Indiana Jones carrying that's what I picture, like a man, like a use case.
Well,
like a saddlebag that you convert to.
It's a saddlebag, yes,
Yeah.
and it's rugged looking, not this Louis Vuitton bullshit.
No,
it doesn't match his outfit. It's rugged. I believe. Check me on this. When he was walking around in other outfits, like when he was at school, he still had the same fucking bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So, God, come on. Let's get back to guys. Can we just be fucking guys?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna get a lot of hate mail for this. But I mean, guys' number one motivation for doing anything is what? It's it's vagina,
procreation,
it's pussy,
or screwing around. Yeah,
we want the pussy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if this is what women want, then this is what guys will do. So I'm gonna say this is women's fault, and I don't mean any of our listeners, of course, because you are all real women who like real men,
correct?
Who do real man shit. Like we can fix cars, we can throw knives, and we can beat somebody up. Yeah.
That's right.
But I'm just talking about, in general, women out there want this emaciated, emasculated, feminine man so that they can be in charge, so that they can do whatever the fuck they want to do whenever they want to do it. And my man's wearing a purse that I picked out for him, that I bought for him. And I mean, and men are just going along with it because they're like, well, if this is what I got to do for the vagina, then that's what I'm going to do. And, it used to be like women wanted someone who could protect them. Like, where did that go? I guess because we live in such a safe society, we don't need that anymore. And so maybe we do need a fucking solar eclipse that wipes out half of everybody. I don't know.
All right. I will step down from my soapbox on that one.
Aaron, if you legitimately have a cock-shaped pillow, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to come at you like that. Jesus Christ. See, every time I look over at the chat, I come into the
time.
most ridiculous time.
Every goddamn time, and that was
All right.
another one.
What do we got here? What's left? I mean, what's
right.
left after all
Well,
that? Jesus.
All right, so Lauren Bobert, she had a medical emergency this week. And then today it came out that she was drunk and disorderly at an event. So apparently the medical emergency was bullshit. I'm still calling that her career is over. She's done as a legislator.
Well, I'm not sure she ever got started, but yeah, I would agree.
Oh, she got started. She made bank. I mean, she's no longer a waitress and a hooker. What was she?
Oh, I'm just saying. You said as a legislator, like no one ever took her seriously. Everyone just looked. Everyone looked at her body, and again, this is not something that I condone. This is not something that I'm proud of.
Right.
That we do as males, but males often will reduce a woman to, misogynistically, we will reduce her to how she looks.
Yeah.
And I don't think Lauren ever got past that. I think she's a good looking lady. She's easy on the eyes. And but I don't think her vote ever really mattered to anybody. I don't think she ever like stood up for anything and made a stand. She just went along with, well, she went to the money.
Yeah.
And so, yes.
She was a cute moron that nobody took seriously. She voted on some stuff, said some outrageous things, and now she can go off into the sunset and probably start OnlyFans, which I might pay for.
I was just going to say, she's like the highest form of a prostitute. Like she did what she did for the money. She got paid, and now she's going to go into retirement and do whatever. But I agree with you. I think for whatever her career was, I think it's over. Yeah, for sure. I do think it's funny that the original story that they tried to feed us was that she had a procedure done. And then it was like, well, actually she was just a drunk fucking idiot and did some dumb shit. So we had to make something up. That's basically what they said.
Yeah. Yep. Amazon storefronts. Did you see this?
Yeah. So who knew? Who would have thought that this would fail?
How high tech did we think this was?
Right?
You could just walk into an Amazon Fresh and just pick up stuff and just walk back out. And somebody was, and the AI, the great AI of Amazon was going to take care of just charging you and you were good to go. Nope, just kidding. It's a bunch of people in India who are actually watching live videos, and they're the ones who are tallying it up.
I love that they outsource this.
It's so fucking great.
Indians.
Yep.
To Indians. Jesus Christ.
Just over half of Amazon Fresh stores are equipped with just walkout. The technology allows customers to skip checkout altogether by scanning a QR code when they enter the store. Though it seemed completely automated, Just Walkout relied on more than 1,000 people in India watching and labeling videos to ensure accurate checkouts. The cashiers were simply moved off-site, and they watched you as you shopped. You've got a bunch of voyeur tellers sitting there going, oh, that's 4 bananas. That's 5 bananas. Oh, Jesus, what the fuck? Oh, God.
I mean, I don't know which part of this paradigm, other than the fact that they outsourced it to Indians who will work for cheaper. They'll work longer hours for less money. And I guess somehow Amazon thought that would save them money. But the problem is you got too many people out there. And listen, I put myself in this category. I when I was a teenager, I did my fair share of shoplifting. Nothing big, nothing expensive, but a pack of gum here, a package of Skittles. I even lifted you remember the night that I acted too drunk and wandered into a cooler at a bar and came out with a bunch of Red Bulls and 2 beers.
That was $1.09.
Yeah, that was a $1.09 concert.
Yep.
I mean, it's easy enough to do, and that's with, actual humans around you. Imagine trying to pick all that up with cameras. I don't know why Amazon thought this was going to be a successful paradigm. It's needle-headed to me.
Well, it wasn't. They lied. I mean, the whole shtick was that we're relying on AI, and we're relying on our ability to compute your process. So you can just walk in and take what you need and leave. It wasn't a big deal. But now we know that it was a bunch of Indians sitting there going, okay, that's a Twinkie. That was about 1.5 pounds of ground beef. And I don't know what Doritos are, but that was a pack of Doritos that he just picked up. Let's charge him $8.50. That's what it was going on. Amazon fucking sucks. They're a bunch of fucking liars. It has to make you wonder what else they're actually doing. And when it comes down to it, we've all seen how Amazon treats its workers.
Oh yeah.
We've all seen what they do to their warehouse workers. No, you can't take a leak until your break. Okay, so I'll hold it for 4 hours. It's fucking ridiculous, and it's a shitty company, and I feel bad that I have an account with them, and I probably still going to keep using them, but still,
of course, that's
what
the whole thing.
That's where they've got you. Yeah.
Hassan Minhaj did a great piece on that on his show that got canceled on Netflix because it was too real and too raw, but he did a whole thing about how much he loved his Amazon account and his, that he could get shit in an hour from after he ordered it. And then he proceeded, like, that was the first 5-minute monologue about how much he loved his Amazon account. And then the rest of the show was about how fucked Amazon is, how they will just buy out small little mom and pop companies because they can, and just put these people into poverty because they don't give a shit. They just want their products so that they don't have any more competitors. And then at the end of the show, he goes through all this whole thing about how bad and awful Amazon is. He's like, and yet I'll probably still keep my Amazon account and I'll still order stuff from them. And I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm right there with him. Like,
I get it.
I get it. It's so convenient. It's so cheap. And literally anything. I mean, other than like fucking firearms, I can buy anything. And actually, if you know how to build a firearm, you can order parts and build a firearm from Amazon. Like, anything you need, they have, and it's hard to turn away from that.
It really is. I wanted to pivot back to the whole bird flu thing because Hefe came right in the middle of that.
Yeah. Let's do that real quick. Yeah.
So, not to get off on a real wild tangent, but you also have, like we were talking about earlier, was that we're talking about attacks on the food supply. We're talking about how we're starting a new pandemic, right? We're trying to everybody's going to be scared. They also know that nobody's going to stand for being stuck at home, right? You're not going to be able to put us at home again. It's not going to happen.
Or masks. Yeah.
Right. But what they can do now is attack the food supply. So how are you going to control people? We're going to limit how much meat you have. So you now are going to have issues with cattle. You're going to have issues with eggs. You're going to have issues with anything that comes with now they're basically establishing that anything that goes along with any kind of animal food product, they can go ahead and they can pollute it. They've already talked about mRNA, right, being injected in the cattle, which suddenly, we've got mRNA injections happening, and now, look, bird flu can get to cattle. We've seen the big push for bugs. We've seen the plant-based push. Nobody took a hold of it all, and it's never going to take until you start actually starving people out.
Right. We have to.
I did see one very interesting take, and this is a total conspiracy, very, very scary shit. Because they attacked us this week in a very big way when they said that thousands of dead penguins are in Antarctic.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Okay. So, and that was a fucked up headline. But what if the idea is that they're going to go ahead and take down the food supply to the point that we're going to make sure that you don't have enough food, we get desperate, now you can go ahead and take away the rest of the rights. You know it's good. Anytime a pandemic comes up, it's going to be a shot to the rights.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I wanna not believe that. I can't actually. I have nothing to refute that. On the penguin issue, real quick, just to backtrack. I mean, number one, the article was scientists are investigating to see if it was bird flu. They have zero evidence that it was. That was the headline. And it was from Reuters. So, part of the bandwagon. And so you have to take that with a grain of salt, because if bird flu is what they're pushing, then any mass die-off of any animal anywhere is going to be attributed to bird flu, because that's what they want to push. Second of all, why are we to think, millions of penguins, they come together every year to breed. Mass die-offs happen every year. Some disease will spread. Yeah, right. I mean, it happens with humans too. Bubonic plague. I mean, throughout history, Spanish flu, whatever. When there's a lot of us together in one place, shit spreads. So yeah, there's a lot. I mean, if one penguin gets a really weird variant of some weird, penguin diarrhea, and they can't stop it, then yeah, it's gonna spread. It's gonna kill a lot of penguins. It doesn't mean it's fucking bird flu. And also, it doesn't mean it's any kind of bird flu that's going to spread to any other species. Because let's be realistic. This was down in Antarctica. They found most of these penguins frozen solid. So how many other animals, how many other birds are going down there and getting this bird flu and transmitting it to us up here in the upper, 48? Come on. Like, they want us to believe
it doesn't make any sense. But if you go ahead and you make it a penguin, a cute little adorable penguin, that's supposed to have some kind of a pull on the heartstrings.
Well, okay, there's that. And then also, because they're penguins, I mean, how many of us have ever seen a penguin outside of a zoo? Zero of us.
None.
Zero of you. None of us. We have no proof that this is actually happening down in Antarctica. We're just supposed to believe the story that someone wrote from their fucking living room while they were in their pajamas, probably masturbating while they wrote it. I mean, but anyway, just to finish the thought, we used to rely on the media to tell us what was happening around the world because we couldn't be there. And now we have to be the exact opposite. We have to say, well, I wasn't there, so I really don't think that happened. Everything. Yeah, I have to question it, because really, was there a huge penguin die-off, and was it because of bird flu? The same bird flu that's infecting the cows, the fucking bovines here in the U.S.? Come on. You want me to believe that? Show me fucking proof. And I'm talking,
give me receipts.
Show me the scientist. Yeah, I want receipts. I want the scientist. I want his research. I want to know how he did it.
And show me his bank account. Show me his bank account too.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
where did he get his fucking funds from?
You remember a few, what was it, like 5-6 weeks ago that Iran claimed Antarctica, right?
Yes, they did. That's right. They're claiming territory down there. Yeah, right. They're maybe they introduced the bird flu down there, and they're clearing the penguins so they can move in, set up their fucking Iranian. What do Iranians that are from the desert? What do they want to do with a bunch of fucking ice?
Well, it's an ice desert. It's an ice desert. It's
all right. Desert.
Yeah, it's
desert
very,
desert.
very similar,
okay,
except there's more water, but it's way colder, so they can just wear jackets.
Okay, I'm in.
Hey, this weekend, can we go and shoot some salt into the air, into the atmosphere?
For fuck's sake, San Francisco, wake the fuck up.
Geoengineering tests launched with salt, flex, and secrecy. The experiment in San Francisco could lead to brighter clouds that reflect sunlight. The risks are numerous. This is a Politico. It's Politico Pro article. The nation's first outdoor test to limit global warming by increasing cloud cover launched Tuesday from the deck of a decommissioned aircraft carrier in San Francisco Bay. As soon as you say anything having to do with San Francisco or California, it's automatically tainted. It just happens. Sorry.
Yep.
The experiment, which organizers didn't widely announce to avoid public backlash, no shit, marks the acceleration of a continuous field of research known as solar radiation modification. This concept involves shooting substances such as aerosols. I thought aerosols hurt. They're like greenhouse gases, weren't they, Fitz? Wasn't that a bad thing at some point?
At one point, they were supposed to be eating away the ozone layer, but of course, now we know different. But yeah, aerosols.
So this was the University of Washington that came out, and they're shooting a salt aerosol, into the atmosphere to reflect sunlight and reduce heat. This is supposed to fix global warming. It's a test, but that's what's happening.
It's such a bad idea. I mean, I listen, I get it. You're some university trained scientist. You've been brought up to, not just brought up, you've been brainwashed to think that, man is causing this global warming. And yeah.
Farmer in Grossberg.
Go ahead.
Yeah. And so you're like, hey, we should try and reflect some of the sunlight. It's such a bad fucking idea. And I'm on the one hand, I'm glad it's very local. Like they're just doing this in San Francisco, like in the Bay Area. On the other hand, if they have a proof of concept, they'll listen, we know the Chinese did it for the Beijing Olympics, right? There was a concern. They needed some rain to clear out the smog. So they put out the silver fluoride and created rain so that it cleared some of the smog so they could have the Olympic Games. We know this is within our agency as humans. It doesn't mean it's a good thing. It doesn't mean we should be fucking with nature like that. And if anyone, please, any of you scientists that are out there or anybody who knows a scientist, please look at the data because we are actually cooling right now. We are in a cooling trend. Go all the way back to 1850 to now. Please. We are in a cooling trend. We are cooler now than we were in the 1850s. So why are you doing this? You want us to be even cooler? You want us to fast forward the snowball that's already coming? Because we're going to be a snowball. Mark my words, we're going to be a snowball. It might not be in our lifetime, but it's coming in the next 50 to 60 years.
Well, it's a money grab, right? I mean, these guys they want to see, they want to go ahead and they want to go ahead and this is all for money. This is let's go ahead and get some funding. Let's go ahead and try this, and we'll go ahead and we'll say some kind of a bullshit like, look, we shot this salt as an aerosol into the sky, into the atmosphere. It created some clouds, and look at how it dropped the temperature, which is going to drop anyway. Oh, and by the way, San Francisco is really not real hot anyway. So what the fuck are you doing it there?
No.
But they're gonna go ahead and claim that it did something. It created some more clouds, which, Fitz, I think you were talking about. We're going into a high weather time, right, with hurricanes.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Well,
so
yeah.
What a fucking coincidence, right?
Yep. Well, and
that's all this is.
Any effects that come from this or anything else man-made, they'll attribute it somehow to climate change on the negative side. Like we all need to stop driving our cars. It's not because you're fucking with the atmosphere by releasing, 50 tons of salt into the air as an aerosol. No, it'll be because I'm driving my fucking Subaru to work. And so I should stop that. I should somehow figure out a way to
it's your fault.
ride my bike. Yeah. 13 and a half miles one way to work. And I'm on the low end. Think about people in LA or Atlanta who have, 25 to 30 mile drives every day. How's that going to work? They're supposed to just get on their fucking bike and ride that?
Well, it doesn't matter as long as you spend $80,000 on an EV.
Oh yeah, right. That'll save everything. Yeah.
All right. Last story.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, wait, what's your last story here?
I was going to bag on California because I haven't gotten to do that enough tonight. But where do you want to go?
Well, no, okay. Let's bag on California, but then we also need to go to the sex crazed zombie cicadas.
Oh. shit.
Because they also like apparently it's now come out. Well, no, I'll save that because that's a fun fact for the end of the show.
Let's go there now. So hold on. I somehow missed.
Well, just look it up.
Zombie.
Sex crazed.
No, we were gonna hit that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it needs to be hit. And apparently, first of all, I learned a fun fact about cicadas. Apparently, they have the strongest pounds of pressure per inch. They have the strongest urination of any animal in the animal kingdom. They actually when they have these mass births, when all these cicadas come out of the ground like this, if you walk in the forests where all these cicadas are, not only are they screaming at the top of their lungs, but they are also urinating so much that it actually falls like rain from the trees. Because they feed on sap from trees. So they eat the sap and then they piss it out. And apparently it's explosive. So I didn't know that. And I just recently learned that. So you're going to have, tens of millions of cicadas throughout the Midwest, mostly the Ohio River Valley there, birthing, and they're going to be, pissing all over everybody, everything, the earth, like rain. I mean, it's like rain. Yeah. But then on top of it, apparently there's the fungus.
Well,
that
you reported this months ago that the cicadas were coming and this was going to be a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's a massive, it's like coming out of COVID and having your first con, right? Your first convention happens and everybody's like so fucking excited. Everybody's going to be there. There's going to be like, normally there's like 10,000 people for this convention, but there's going to be like 1 billion are suddenly going to be there. That's what's going to happen with all these cicadas because it's been 17 years. They've been underground waiting and suddenly they're ready to go ahead and fucking, hey, it's a fucking party. Let's fuck and let's eat everything. That's what's going to happen with these cicadas.
And on top of it, so there's one group of cicadas that's on a 17-year cycle and there's another one that's on a 14-year cycle.
Yes.
Well, they're both hatching this year. They have both coordinated
time.
They're all coming out at the same time, which is amazing.
Hopefully April 8th. I want it to all happen on April 8th.
Oh, yeah. That would be great.
Give me the eclipse. Give me sex crazed zombie fucking cicadas eating and fucking and pissing everywhere. And that is what I want. Yes. Make it happen. Make it rain as fucking, I don't know, somebody said. And this is exactly what needs to happen. It has to happen.
I agree. I mean, if it's ever going to happen, it needs to be this year. On top of it, and I know, I mean, there's lots of links that we have, but quickly, I mean, apparently there's a fungus that comes out with these cicadas.
Yes. Yep.
It attacks the sexual organs of the cicadas. In the males,
because it needs to,
of course, because it's 2024, man. In the males, it attacks their testes,
zombie dicks, and zombie vaginas, zombie testes, and it hardens their testes into. One article I read, it said it hardens them into concrete-like balls. Oh God!
And they fall off because it's like they've just been like encased in this concrete, and they fall off. And then here's the wild part is that birds eat the testicles, the little rock testicles, because yum. And it has a hallucinogenic effect on birds. And so they fly into like trees and walls and they die. And that's how the fungus reproduces is through the bird's dead body.
Can you imagine if this is how we go out?
Oh God, I hope so.
Cicadas hatch, birds eat their balls, and everybody and because I'm imagining,
did
all the
Hitchcock
birds
have it right?
Well, I don't know, but I'm imagining the birds turning into Mitch Hedberg, and just fucking running around doing random shit, dying after eating these cicada balls, and then suddenly, yeah.
That's a nice tie-in.
I have to read this. This is a Vice article, and we've already talked about how amazing Vice is. Amazing being one of the biggest pieces of shit.
A fucking joke. Yeah.
News agencies ever. I'm going to lean in for this one. You ready?
All right. Yep. Do it.
All right.
Do it.
The cicada summer is here. Millions of periodic cicadas are emerging across Virginia, West Virginia, and North Carolina. After hibernating underground for 17 years, they've missed everything from the creation of YouTube to Trump being elected. The cicada's unique life cycle comes as a means of predator avoidance. Scientists theorize cicadas spend a prime number of years underground, 13 or 17 years, depending on the species, to avoid syncing up with predators. Then, by descending in unison, the millions of clumsy, defenseless cicadas can overwhelm predators and stand a chance to survive. But this year's cicadas have an even bigger thing to worry about above surface, a hallucinogenic fungus that turns them into sex-crazed zombies. This fungus, called Masopora what the fuck?
Cicadina.
Yeah. Invades the cicada and causes its abdomen to slide off.
Oh, God.
It slides fucking off.
Not
the
just
whole
their
fucking
balls.
abdomen fits. The cicadas enter a zombie-like state, driven to mate with anything they can find. It sounds like Hefe. I'm just saying.
God.
But their efforts are fruitless because the fungus has eaten away their butts and genitals. The fungus is eating away their butts and genitals, Fitz. The fungus acts much like an STD, where spores...
You can't even fuck the butt.
You can't know. There will be no cicada anal.
Nope.
The fungus acts much like an...
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, we can stop there. We can stop there. That was a really great place to stop.
Oh
that was
God.
perfect.
Holy
shit. Let's just go to final thoughts. We're good.
Wait, before final thoughts, could you imagine you're
at
a dinner party and you're trying to mingle. You've had a couple beers, and so you slide up next to this,
Hey baby.
She's kind of mousy, but
How you doing?
in a hot librarian way, and you're like, "Hey,
look at you.
What do you do for a living?" She's like, "Well, I research cicadas. And specifically the fungus that attacks their butts and genitals."
Oh, fuck yeah.
I'm sorry. There's nothing going on past that. That's the end of the conversation. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Go live your life. Anyway, final thoughts.
Whiskey Hills. Final thoughts.
This has been the most disjointed, chaotic show we've ever done.
Yeah.
And I want to thank our chat for taking us down roads that you influenced the show more than you have yet.
Yeah, agreed.
I want to thank Fitz, because you brother, you rounded things out perfectly. We were scary synced tonight, like in a bad way. And it happens often, but tonight it was exceptionally bad. And I want to call out Hefe, because he fucking blew it up with that goddamn farm report. And
dude, he killed it.
God, that was just wow.
Yeah.
Just
well
amazing.
Done, Hefe. Yeah, you know what? I often think about what this show would be if we didn't have the
balance that we have.
The 15-minute, explosiveness of Hefe every once in a while.
Yeah, it's like the greatest form of diarrhea ever. 15 minutes of just explosive diarrhea.
And it gets us out of our like funk, whatever
Yes.
funk we're in. Like this show would be so heavy without Hefe. And
Yeah.
so once again, Hefe, you are such a crucial part of this tricycle. You are the big wheel. McShane and I are the little wheels. You are the big wheel. And I think our fans are the fucking 3-year-old sitting and pedaling.
Yep.
It's just it's a nice dance that we all do.
Just crashing into shit and just yeah.
No helmet, no pads. Let's just fucking let's do it.
God damn. All right. Was that your final thoughts?
No. I no. No. Here's my final thought for the night. Should the world end on Monday? And my God, I'm hoping that all of you are listening to this show while it ends. But should the world end on Monday? I just want all of you to know that I have appreciated the camaraderie. I've appreciated sharing some really good and a few shitty, but mostly really good beers with you all.
Okay.
And just the family and the community that we've built here is I will take it to my underwater grave or whatever happens to me. So if the world ends, thank you all for the ride. Most likely we'll see you all next week, and I can't wait because it's going to be fun to make fun of all the bullshit. But that's my final thought. And also, fucking do not follow the narratives because they're really trying. It's like every week they try harder, and we have to stay awake. We have to stay vigilant. We have to stay aware. So those are my final thoughts. What about you?
No, I already said it.
Okay.
That was mine. I just went for it. So, what beer are you taking to bed?
Oh, definitely that porter, dude. That porter. I mean, probably top 5 porters I've ever had. And the fact that it was a $2 beer, come on, that's ridiculous.
Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, it is. It's perfect. And I'm still I don't know what to do with this via the Temple Wolf. Again, the can art is just blows me away. It's so beautiful. But the beer was just okay. Like maybe put a little bit more time into your beer and less time on your artwork. But either way, I mean, it was okay. But definitely that porter's going to bed with me. She was a dark coffee-filled goddess, and I will worship at her feet as long as she wants me to. What about you?
Dark coffee-filled goddess. That's kind of fucking hot, dude.
Dude, she was hot.
That's pretty
good.
good.
Oh, she was hot. Yeah.
I'm taking the Dark Canyon. And I dug the barley wine, I really did, but I'm still not done with the Dark Canyon. I'll tell you why. I'm enjoying the shit out of this thing.
Nice.
Like I don't want it to end. I told you how dirty and filthy she was. I mean, she's amazing, and she's just hold on. I think, good. I don't do it often. I do it way less than you do. But this was a fucking special beer. It was seriously good. If I could go and I could find more of those, and I may try and do that, but in fact, I'll try and do that for the beer share. I'm going to try and do that. I'll try and hook you guys up.
Yeah, I owe a huge shipment to Gray's Tap Room here, and I think we just need to get another 4-way or 6-way or 8-way or whatever. We need to all be sharing some good local beers again.
It'll be a whiskey hell bukkake session. That's what we'll do. And anyway, I'm taking that one for sure.
Nice.
Incredibly enjoyable beer. Enjoyable beer. All right, we have. I think that's it. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you everybody for tuning in. All of our new listeners, don't be shy to reach out. Say hey, check in with us. The Patreon is fun. You guys should totally get in there. And There's so much. And I didn't mention this tonight, but shout out to Jay and shout out to Beard for bringing a ton of news in. Elle, you constantly are bringing in funny shit that just keeps us light. Tabby, Mike, you guys keep us light too. That's what it's all about. That's why it's a community and it's more than just a chat room and such. So, thank you very much for listening. At whiskey_hell is the X feed. You guys can look us up at Whiskey Hell Pod on Instagram. We're on Facebook too, which we don't put a lot of effort into Facebook. Trust me, there's a reason why. And TikTok too. So thanks for listening. We appreciate you. Fitz?
Yeah, got nothing but love for this community. We wouldn't still be doing this if it weren't for you guys. So all the love, nothing but love. And can't wait to do it again next week because the world's not going to end on Monday. So we're going to be good, right?
That's right. I'm looking forward to seeing how little fallout there was and what the narratives are next week. Because when all the state of emergencies from the 8th expire and everybody takes away their immense amount of money from being able to declare such things, in the end, nothing's going to change. We're all going to be here. Think critically.
Act accordingly.
We'll talk to you soon.